What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved entertainers sits down for what should be a simple interview, only to face hostility, disrespect, and shocking accusations from someone who should know better? In just 49 seconds, a seemingly cordial conversation would spiral into one of the most explosive confrontations daytime television has ever witnessed, exposing the true colors of a host who forgot that respect goes both ways. Jamie Foxx walked onto the View set that morning with his trademark smile, waving to the studio audience as they erupted in applause. He was there to promote his latest project, expecting the usual light banter and friendly conversation. The panel sat ready. Whoopi Goldberg in her center seat, flanked by Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Alyssa Farah Griffin. The cameras rolled, the audience settled, and what followed would become the talk of Hollywood for weeks to come. "So Jamie, welcome back," Whoopi began, but there was something different in her tone. Something cold. "We need to talk about something serious today." Jamie's smile faltered slightly. This wasn't the opening he expected. Okay, sure. What's on your mind?" Whoopi leaned forward, her expression hardening. "You've been in this industry a long time. You've won awards, made millions, played every kind of role. But I want to know, do you think you've earned all of that? Do you really think you deserve to be where you are?" The audience went silent. Even the other panelists shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Jamie blinked, clearly taken aback by the question. "I'm sorry, what?" Jamie said, his voice measured but confused. "I'm not sure I understand what you're asking me." "It's a simple question," Whoopi said, her voice rising slightly. "Do you think you've actually earned your success, or do you think maybe you've just been lucky? Maybe you've had doors opened for you that others haven't had?" Sarah Haynes jumped in, trying to redirect. "Whoopi, I think what we really want to hear about is Jamie's new film. Jamie, tell us about the character you're playing because it sounds fascinating." But Whoopi wasn't having it. She held up her hand, cutting Sarah off. No, I want an answer to my question first. This is important." Jamie took a deep breath, his jaw tightening. "Look, I've worked hard my entire life. I started doing comedy in dive bars when I was a kid. I put in the hours, the practice, the dedication. I don't think luck has anything to do with it." "Really?" Whoopi shot back. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've had a pretty easy ride. You've never had to struggle the way some of us have struggled." The other panelists exchanged glances. Joy Behar leaned forward, her expression concerned. "Whoopi, maybe we should—" "No, Joy, I'm making a point here," Whoopi interrupted, her voice getting louder. "I've been in this business longer than he has. I've seen people come and go, and I'm tired of watching people get praised for doing the bare minimum." Jamie's expression changed. The confusion was replaced by something else. Hurt, mixed with rising anger. "The bare minimum? Are you serious right now?" "I'm completely serious," Whoopi said, crossing her arms. "You come on this show, you expect us to just fawn over you, ask you softball questions, help you sell your movie. But maybe it's time someone asked you the real questions. Maybe it's time someone held you accountable." "Accountable for what exactly?" Jamie asked, his voice growing stronger. "For working hard? For being good at what I do? For making people laugh and entertaining millions of people?" Sunny Hostin tried to intervene. "I think we're getting off track here. Jamie, you've always been someone who gives back to your community. Can we talk about your charity work?" But Whoopi ignored her completely. "You know what your problem is, Jamie. You think you're untouchable. You think because you've won an Oscar, and you've got a big smile that nobody can question you." "That's not true at all," Jamie said, his voice steady but firm. "I've never thought that. But I also don't think I should sit here and be disrespected on national television for no reason." "Disrespected?" Whoopi laughed, but it was a harsh sound. "You don't know what disrespect is. You don't know what it's like to fight for every opportunity, to be told no 1,000 times, to have to prove yourself over and over again. Jamie leaned forward, his eyes locked on Whoopi. Actually, I do know what that's like. I know exactly what that's like. Just because I smile and stay positive doesn't mean I haven't faced rejection. Doesn't mean I haven't struggled. You don't know my story, Whoopi. I know enough, Whoopi snapped back. I know that some people in this industry get handed things that others have to claw and scratch for. Alyssa Farah Griffin jumped in, her voice urgent. Can we please just take a breath here? This is getting really heated, and I don't think this is productive for anyone. You want to know what's not productive? Whoopi said, turning to Alyssa before swinging back to Jamie. What's not productive is people like you coming on shows like this and acting like you're better than everyone else. I have never acted like I'm better than anyone, Jamie said, his voice rising now. Not once. Not ever. That's you putting words in my mouth. That's you making assumptions about who I am. The audience was completely silent now, watching the exchange like a tennis match, heads turning back and forth between Whoopi and Jamie. Joy tried again. Whoopi, I really think we need to move on. This isn't fair to Jamie. Fair? Whoopi's voice hit a new level. You want to talk about fair? What's fair is me being able to ask tough questions on my own show. What's fair is me not having to walk on eggshells around guests who think they're too important to be challenged. Challenged about what? Jamie demanded. You haven't challenged me about anything real. You've just been attacking me since I sat down. There's a difference between asking tough questions and being hostile for no reason. Sarah spoke up, her voice firm. He's right, Whoopi. This has gone too far. Jamie came here as our guest, and we're treating him like he's done something wrong. Whoopi turned on Sarah. Stay out of this, Sarah. This is between me and him. No, it's not, Sarah said, not backing down. This is our show. All of us. And this isn't right. Whoopi's face flushed. You know what? Maybe you all need to remember who's been at this table the longest. Who built this show? Sunny jumped in, her lawyer instincts kicking in. Whoopi, nobody's questioning your legacy. But right now, you're being unfair to our guest, and we all can see it. Unfair? Whoopi stood up from her chair, towering over the table. I'll tell you what's unfair. What's unfair is sitting here day after day, doing this job, and then having people question my judgment. Having people tell me I'm being too harsh when I'm just being honest. Jamie stood up too, his chair scraping back. Honest? You haven't been honest. You've been rude and confrontational from the second I walked out here. I don't know what I did to deserve this treatment, but I'm not going to sit here and take it anymore. Then leave, Whoopi said, her voice cold. If you can't handle a real conversation, if you can't handle being pushed a little bit, then maybe you should leave. The audience gasped. The other panelists looked shocked. Jamie stared at her for a long moment. You know what? You're absolutely right. I should leave. Because this isn't a real conversation. This is you trying to tear someone down for reasons I don't even understand. Jamie, please, Joy said, reaching out toward him. Don't go. This isn't about you. This is just getting out of hand. But Jamie was already unclipping his microphone. No, it's okay. I appreciate you all trying to make this better. But I'm not staying somewhere. I'm not respected. I don't care who you are or how long you've been doing this. Respect is respect. Whoopi crossed her arms. So, you're just going to walk out? Very professional. You're really going to talk to me about professionalism right now? Jamie said, shaking his head. After everything you just said to me? After the way you just treated me in front of all these people? Alyssa stood up. Jamie, please. We're sorry. This shouldn't have happened. I know you're sorry, Jamie said, his voice softening as he looked at the other panelists. I can see that. But I can't stay here and pretend this is okay. I can't normalize this kind of behavior. Whoopi scoffed. Normalize? Oh, please. You're being overdramatic. Am I? Jamie turned back to her. You questioned my worth, my talent, my success. You suggested I didn't earn what I've achieved. You accused me of thinking I'm better than everyone else, when I've never said anything like that. You talked over your colleagues when they tried to help. And now you're calling me overdramatic for standing up for myself? Sonny nodded. He's right, Whoopi. Everything he just said is exactly what happened. Whoopi glared at Sonny. You're all turning on me now? Really? This is what we're doing? Nobody's turning on you, Sarah said gently. We're just trying to tell you that this went wrong. This went really wrong. I don't need you to tell me how my own show went, Whoopi snapped. I know exactly how it went. Jamie picked up his jacket from the back of the chair. I hope you do know. I hope you think about this later and realize what you did here today. Because this isn't who I thought you were. You don't know me, Whoopi said. You're right, I don't, Jamie said. But I thought I did. I thought you were someone who lifted people up. Someone who understood what it meant to struggle and succeed. I guess I was wrong. The audience was completely still, barely breathing. The cameras kept rolling. Joy stood up now, too. Jamie, I'm so sorry. This is not what we wanted this to be. I know, Jamie said, his voice gentle with her. Thank you for trying. All of you. He looked at Sarah, Sonny, and Alyssa. Thank you for speaking up. That took courage. Whoopi laughed bitterly. Oh, now he's handing out compliments. How generous. Jamie turned to face her one last time. You know what? I feel sorry for you. I really do. Because you're so caught up in whatever anger or resentment you're carrying that you can't even see what you're doing. You can't see how you're pushing people away. You can't see how you're hurting people who admire you. I don't need your pity, Whoopi said. It's not pity, Jamie said quietly. It's disappointment. I grew up watching you. I respected you. You were a trailblazer. You opened doors. But right now, you're using your position to tear someone down instead of build them up. And that's sad. Whoopi's jaw clenched. Get out of here if you're going to leave. Stop making speeches. I'm going, Jamie said. He looked at the audience. Thank you all for being here today. I'm sorry you had to witness this. I hope you know that respect and kindness matter, no matter who you are or what you've accomplished. The audience erupted in applause. It started with a few people and then swept through the entire studio. They stood up, giving Jamie a standing ovation as he walked across the stage. Whoopi remained standing at the table, her face flushed, her arms still crossed. The other panelists sat in stunned silence, watching Jamie walk away. As Jamie reached the edge of the stage, he paused and turned back one more time. I hope things get better for you, Whoopi. I really do. Then he was gone, disappearing behind the curtain as the audience continued to applaud. The remaining panelists sat frozen. Sarah had tears in her eyes. Sonny looked down at the table. Alyssa stared, straight ahead. Joy put her head in her hands. Whoopi finally sat down, the color draining from her face as the reality of what just happened seemed to hit her. We need to go to commercial, someone said from off camera. The camera pulled back, showing the 4 remaining panelists at the table, the empty chair where Jamie had been sitting just minutes before, and Whoopi, isolated in her center seat, suddenly looking very small and very alone. Sarah turned to Whoopi, her voice shaking. Why did you do that? Why did you treat him that way? Whoopi didn't answer. She just stared at the empty chair. He didn't deserve that, Sonny said, her voice thick with emotion. None of that was deserved. You went too far, Joy added quietly. Way too far. Alyssa looked directly at the camera that was still rolling. I just want to say, on behalf of those of us who tried to stop this, we're sorry. Jamie Foxx is a good man, a talented man, and he didn't deserve what happened here today. Whoopi's head snapped up. Don't you dare apologize for me. I'm not apologizing for you, Alyssa said calmly. I'm apologizing for what happened on this show. There's a difference. The stage manager called out again. Commercial now. But before they could cut away, Sarah spoke directly to the camera. Jamie, if you're watching this later, we're so sorry. You handled that with so much grace and dignity. We should have done more to stop it sooner. Sonny nodded. You're always welcome here. Always. Please know that. Whoopi slammed her hand on the table. This is my show. No, Joy said, her voice firmer than anyone had heard it all day. It's our show. All of ours. And we all just watched you drive away one of the most beloved people in entertainment for absolutely no reason. The lights started to dim as they finally went to commercial, but not before the camera caught one final image. 4 women looking at their co-host with expressions ranging from disappointment to disbelief, and Whoopi Goldberg sitting alone in her power position, realizing that power without respect means nothing at all. In the commercial break, chaos erupted. Producers rushed onto the stage. The other panelists huddled together, talking in urgent whispers. Whoopi remained seated, her face unreadable. What were you thinking? A producer demanded. That was a disaster. Whoopi finally spoke. I was asking real questions. I was being honest. That wasn't honest, Sarah said, standing up to face her. That was cruel. There's a difference between being honest and being cruel, and you crossed that line within the first minute. He couldn't handle it, Whoopi said weakly. He handled it perfectly, Sonny countered. He tried to answer your questions. He tried to be reasonable. He gave you multiple chances to back down. You're the one who couldn't handle it. Alyssa stood up too. Do you understand what just happened? Do you understand that millions of people just watched? You attack a guest for no reason? Do you understand how this looks? I don't care how it looks, Whoopi said, but her voice cracked slightly. Well, you should, Joy said, standing up as well. Because that man walked out of here with his dignity intact, and the entire audience on his side. And you're sitting here having lost the respect of your co-hosts, and probably a lot of viewers too. A makeup artist approached to fix Whoopi's makeup for the return from commercial, but Whoopi waved her away. I'm fine. You're not fine, Sarah said softly. None of this is fine. What happened out there? Whatever caused you to do that, it's not fine. The floor director called out. We're back in 30 seconds. The panelists returned to their seats, but the energy was completely different now. The warmth was gone. The camaraderie was gone. In its place was tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. We need to address this when we come back, Sonny said. We can't just pretend it didn't happen. I'll handle it, Whoopi said. No, Joy said firmly. We'll all handle it. Together. The lights came back up. The cameras went live. The audience, still buzzing from what they'd witnessed, quieted down. Whoopi opened her mouth to speak, but Sarah cut her off. We need to acknowledge what just happened, Sarah said, looking directly at the camera. Our guest, Jamie Foxx, left the show after an exchange that became heated and uncomfortable. We want to be clear that what happened was not okay. It was supposed to be a tough interview, Whoopi interjected. It was supposed to be an interview, Sonny corrected. What it became was an attack. There's a difference between asking challenging questions and what we all just witnessed. The audience applauded again, clearly in agreement. Whoopi's face reddened. I think people are being oversensitive. No, Alyssa said, her voice steady. People are being appropriately sensitive. Jamie Foxx came here to talk about his work, and instead he was questioned about whether he deserved his success, whether he earned his place in the industry, and whether he thought he was better than everyone else. None of those questions had any basis. They were accusatory from the start. Joy nodded. And when we tried to redirect the conversation, to bring it back to a place of respect, those attempts were shut down. We all tried. The audience saw us try. Whoopi shifted in her seat. I was trying to have a real conversation. A real conversation requires respect from both sides, Sarah said. It requires listening. It requires good faith. What happened out there was one-sided, and it was hostile. The audience applauded again, louder this time. Whoopi looked around the table, seeing nothing but disappointment and disapproval from her co-hosts. For the first time since the interview started, she seemed to truly understand the gravity of what had happened. I think, Sunny said carefully, that we all need to take a moment and reflect on what just happened. As a show, as a panel, and as individuals, we need to do better. Jamie Foxx is a class act, Alyssa added. The way he handled himself in an impossible situation, the way he stood up for himself with dignity, the way he thanked us for trying to intervene. That's the mark of a true professional and a good person. Sarah wiped at her eyes. He deserved so much better than what he got here today. The camera panned across the table, capturing each face, each expression of regret and disappointment, before landing on Whoopi, who sat in silence, no longer defending her actions, no longer justifying her behavior, just sitting there as the weight of what she'd done settled on her shoulders. Joy looked at the camera one last time. To Jamie, wherever you are right now, thank you for showing us all what grace under pressure looks like. We could all learn from your example. The audience gave one final standing ovation, this time for a man who wasn't even in the room anymore, but whose presence and dignity had left an impact that would be remembered long after the cameras stopped rolling. Whoopi stared at the table in front of her, surrounded by colleagues who had become critics, facing an audience whose approval had turned to disappointment, and sitting in a chair that suddenly felt very uncomfortable despite all her years of occupying it. The show continued, but the energy never recovered. Every topic felt forced. Every laugh felt hollow. The empty chair sat there like an accusation, impossible to ignore. During another commercial break, a producer approached the table. We're getting flooded with calls. People are angry. They want answers. Whoopi rubbed her temples. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Sarah's voice rose. How can you call that a misunderstanding? We all heard what you said. Sarah, please, Whoopi began. No, Sarah interrupted. I've been quiet enough today. We sat here and watched you tear into that man, and we didn't do enough to stop it. But calling it a misunderstanding? That's insulting. Joy put a hand on Sarah's arm. She's right, Whoopi. We need to own what happened. I was doing my job, Whoopi insisted, but her voice had lost its edge. Your job is to interview guests, not interrogate them, Sunny said. Your job is to make people feel welcome, not attacked. Alyssa leaned forward. Can I ask you something? What did Jamie do to you? What made you come at him like that? Whoopi was quiet for a long moment. Nothing, she finally said. He didn't do anything. Then why? Sarah asked. Whoopi looked around the table. I don't know. I was having a bad morning. I was frustrated. And then he came out here so happy, so successful, and something in me just snapped. So you took your bad morning out on him, Joy said slowly. I know, Whoopi said. I know that now. You should have known it then, Sunny said firmly. You should have known. It the moment you asked that first question, the floor director called out. Back in 60 seconds. When the cameras came back on, Whoopi took a breath. I want to say something. The studio went silent. What happened earlier today, with Jamie Foxx, I need to address it more directly. Whoopi paused. I came into this interview with the wrong energy. I asked questions that were inappropriate. I treated a guest with disrespect, and that's not acceptable. The audience waited. It felt incomplete. Sarah jumped in. Jamie handled himself with incredible grace. He gave multiple opportunities to change course. He remained calm even when being attacked, and when he decided to leave, he did so with dignity. He did, Alyssa agreed. His decision to leave was completely justified. Nobody should have to sit through what he sat through. Joy nodded. The fact that he thanked us shows the kind of person he is. He recognized that not everyone at this table agreed with what was happening. He saw us, Sonny added. He saw that we were trying, and he was gracious enough to acknowledge that. Whoopi sat quietly as her co-hosts spoke. For once, she wasn't interrupting. She was listening. The question now, Sarah said, looking at Whoopi, is what do we do moving forward? We hold each other accountable, Sonny said. All of us. If we see something going wrong, we speak up louder. We speak up sooner. Alyssa nodded. And we remember that every person who sits in that guest chair is a human being. They deserve respect. The audience applauded. Jamie, Joy said, turning to face the camera, if you're watching, please know that you have our support. You have our respect. And you have an open invitation to come back whenever you're ready. We would understand if you never wanted to come back, Sarah added. But the door is open. Whoopi finally spoke again. Jamie, I owe you an apology. A real one. What I did was wrong. It was unprofessional. It was unkind. You didn't deserve any of it. And I'm sorry. It was the most genuine Whoopi had sounded all day. But the words hung in the air, unable to undo the damage. Words are important, Sonny said, but actions matter more. Jamie left here hurt and angry. An apology on air is a start, but it's just a start. You're right, Whoopi said. I need to reach out to him personally. The show moved on to other segments, but everything felt different. When the show finally ended, when the cameras stopped rolling. For the last time that day, the 5 women sat at the table in silence. That was the hardest show I've ever done, Sarah said quietly. It was necessary, though, Sonny replied. We had to address it. We had to make it clear where we stood. Alyssa looked at Whoopi. Are you okay? Whoopi let out a long breath. No, I'm not. But I shouldn't be. What I did today, I can't take it back. I can apologize. I can try to make amends, but I can't undo it. No, you can't, Joy. Agreed. But you can learn from it. We all can. I kept thinking, Sarah said, about how many young people watch this show. How many kids look up to us. What did they learn today? They learned that power doesn't excuse bad behavior, Sonny said. They learned that even adults make mistakes. They learned what accountability looks like. They learned what grace looks like too, Alyssa added, because of Jamie. They saw how to stand up for yourself without losing yourself, how to walk away with dignity. Whoopi stood up slowly. I'm going to go. I need to think. Take care of yourself, Joy said. We'll be here tomorrow. Whoopi nodded and walked off the stage, leaving the other 4 women sitting at the table. I'm proud of us, Joy said. I'm proud that we spoke up. I just keep thinking about Jamie, Sarah said. How is he feeling? Sonny pulled out her phone. I'm going to text him, just to let him know we're thinking about him. The others did the same, each sending their own messages of support. He should know that we care, Sonny said, that what happened doesn't represent all of us. He knows, Joy said with certainty. He said it himself before he left. He thanked us. They sat there processing the day, thinking about what it meant. You know what the worst part is, Sarah said finally. Whoopi is better than this. And today, she became the thing she's always stood against. People are complicated, Sonny said. Nobody is just one thing. Both good and bad can be true. I hope she can come back from this, Alyssa said. We will, Joy said with determination. But it's going to take work. It's going to take genuine change. As they finally gathered their things, the empty chair where Jamie had sat remained as a stark reminder. Tomorrow it would be replaced by another guest. But today it stood as a monument to what had been lost and what needed to be repaired. The cameras were off. The lights were dim. the audience was gone. But the impact would reverberate far beyond that studio. Because sometimes the most important lessons come from the moments we wish had never happened. The moments that expose our flaws and force us to confront the difference between who we think we are and who we actually show ourselves to be.